Engine 1 from car 1. Car 1's on scene. Assuming command. Give me a CAN report.
What's going on, everybody? This is Mike Goldstein. Stickers of the CAN report. Nozzle Tov. I have a great guest with us this evening. Man, I gotta say, all the guests have been fantastic. The list just keep hitting, and I appreciate all my guests coming on. And today I have another fantastic one. I have Sean Duffy from Michigan joining us on the CAN report. We met at FDIC. We had a great conversation, and we just hit it off. And I said, dude, let's get you on the show. Let's talk. Honestly, I'm sure everybody knows who you are, but for the people that don't know, or the people that are curious about you and want to know more about you, wanted to get you on the show. So Sean Duffy, thank you for being on the CAN report, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate the invite.
My pleasure, my friend. Before we hit the ground running, I'd love to give a shout out to my sponsors, Engine House Designs LLC. Awesome dude out of Memphis, Tennessee. He makes hats, shirts, the flag behind me. He makes chore coats. Pretty much if you need it, he's got it. If you need it for your union, your crews, your stations, your businesses, he's going to help you out. He does online shops. He also has an ambassador program. So hit up Engine House Designs. It's a firefighter owned business out of Memphis, Tennessee. He's not going to steer you wrong. Solid dude. So check out Engine House Designs LLC, Ignite the Pride. Also want to give a shout out to the Kitchen Table Foundation. Kitchen Table Foundation has been doing great things, helping the brothers and sisters in the fire service, military, vets, anyone who's really struggling with mental health issues or need a place to talk. That's how the Kitchen Table Foundation developed. It was a bunch of dudes sitting around talking about life, and they said, you know what, we need to incorporate this more into life and for everybody else. So they developed the Kitchen Table Foundation. They work in conjunction with IFF and Next Rung. They're doing fantastic work for everybody out there who needs it. So check out the Kitchen Table Foundation. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, and they have a great website that talks about a lot what they do. And they also have a clothing line on there as well. So also just click that like and subscribe button if you guys like what I'm doing, or you want something different, or you think you got something good to talk about, hit me up and we can discuss it. With that being said, going into it, Sean Duffy, my man, build your culture, the dude out of Michigan. Who are you?
That is the question. Honestly, I'm just like anyone else, man. I'm a firefighter of 22 years now. I started right out of high school. Went down to the volunteer firehouse in the community where I lived, which was in Lutz, Florida, Hillsborough County, for all my Florida people or anyone who wants to know where that is. So, you know, to bring it all in perspective, that's where I got my start. My father was in EMS, lifelong EMT. He also got into it at a young age. Obviously, as young children do, right? They look up to their parents, and I always just thought my dad was like larger than life. He worked for the city of Trenton in New Jersey, where I was born and raised. And, you know, we would just always go down and see him at work, and all his friends were firemen, and we had a local volunteer firehouse in town when we were little town called New Egypt. You know, he would just always take me down there.
Aaron Heller.
Yeah, there you go. So, you know, it was just something that, like, for whatever reason, I was always drawn to. I felt the need to do it, but I wasn't sure if it was for me. Obviously it is. Here I am 22 years later, right? So the journey's been great. It's taken me down a lot of paths that I did not expect. Meet a lot of cool people along the way. And I know it's kind of like cheesy to say, but it really is true. Like, if you love the job, it'll love you back. And, you know, so here we are doing the Build Your Culture, running a fire conference, writing for fire engineering, teaching at FDIC, just having a blast, man. It's been an awesome time. Learned a lot of lessons along the way. Still got a lot of time left. So, you know, I'm continuing to learn myself. So we'll just keep after it.
Absolutely. I love that you muted your kid's toy, by the way. I think that's fantastic.
I got a little, like a 2-year, it's going off again. I got a little 2-year-old running around the house. She's got a bunch of stuff, you know, and then obviously the older ones. So, I guess I should mention that, you know, that been married for 13 years. I've got my, my littlest, she's turning 2 in April. I got an oldest turning 13 and in the middle that's turning 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
All girls?
All girls, man. Which is awesome. It's totally cool. Everyone's like, why don't you want a boy? And I'm like, I wouldn't even know what to do with a boy, to be honest. It's all, that's all I know is how to raise girls. So, hopefully I don't mess them up too bad.
That's awesome. I have girls myself. I have twin 16-year-old girls. They just got their license. I hit a milestone. They literally just started driving yesterday, and it feels weird today. We didn't have to take them to school, and we didn't have to pick them up from school. It's bizarre, dude. Absolutely bizarre when you're not needed.
Right.
Like it's
Yeah.
that conjunction. They just went to Target and they went to McDonald's. Like, and I didn't do any of that. I didn't have to go with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's cool to have that, man. Fatherhood's great, especially honestly to me, same thing, having girls. I don't know any other way. So I think we do the best that we can. And when they become teenagers is really when you start seeing the work coming to fruition. Like you could tell they're becoming independent and strong and beautiful young women that you help to do that with your wife. It just all starts. It's like almost like you're doing your probies, right? Like you're doing your recruit class, and it kind of things start melding together. You're like, you know what? I did that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's an awesome experience. So I encourage anybody to have children, man. You learn a lot about yourself. That's for sure.
You learn a lot about patience.
You do. It's a wild ride, man. So here we are, starting
I love it.
over and also sending them out there. So
yeah. So volunteer life, you started with that. And what did you get out of the volunteer life out of that? What was some, like, obviously it was very beneficial. You seemed to obviously love it and grow from that. What did you start learning as you were a volunteer?
Man, well, one, I was fortunate, man. I was brought in at a time where the fire service, you could still do things without fear of getting brought into HR and, accused of all the things that we get accused of today. It was very fun. But what I really did learn was as I learned about, putting others before yourself. That was the biggest lesson. Like I said, I was 18 years old, man, fresh out of high school. I grew up skateboarding and doing stuff like I wanted to do, and I wanted to do it. And then, growing up from a household with divorced parents, my dad went back to New Jersey and my mom, I mean, she worked. That was it. So fine, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But the supervision really, throughout the day, I could do whatever. So that was a good learning moment for me, is like what structure really looked like, being accountable and having to do stuff. And like, dude, I was a messy kid. I'm not gonna lie. I hated cleaning my room. I hated doing dishes. Like I just didn't do it, and when I got to the firehouse, I learned really quick, like, yeah, we don't do that kind of stuff here. So I learned a lot about teamwork. I learned a lot about, just like, don't walk past a problem that you can solve, right? Like the garbage is overflowing, take it out, clean your stuff, be accountable. You have gear and things like this that you're responsible for now. If it goes missing, that's on you. Like there was just a whole lot of lessons that forced me to grow up, I guess, in a good way. And, man, I got a lot of friends out of it too. And, we're going to fires, we're going to all these things. And I learned in that process, like what it is that I was actually able to do. You hear all the time, like people, when they ask about the fire service, oh man, I can never do that. And you're like, yeah, you can. Well, you'd be surprised what you can do when you have to do it. It was a lot of growth in that 4 years.
So you spent 4 years in a volunteer department, and that was in Florida. And so 4 years, and then where did you move after that?
So I went up. I'm like, you know what, man? Like I'm having a blast doing this. I should probably get paid to do it. Obviously, like I'm calling out of work. I was an electrician helper, and I was like, I'm calling out of work where I can make money to hang out at the firehouse with these guys. Like it's clearly what I need to be doing, right? So in order to do that, because I was only firefighter 1 certified, right? So because I wasn't fully certified, I could not get a full-time career job. I went up to Sumter County, a little bit more central Florida area. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this like on-call thing, paid on-call thing. And I moved up there and I did that and I worked my way up. Like eventually it was like, hey, now you're part-time. And then you're just going like, hey, now we got a full-time job. And, I was there until about 2014. And that was where I really got introduced to like what it was like to be a fireman, because we didn't have the staff. I mean, sometimes you're going to a fire and you were there by yourself, right? And as we got more and the department grew, it was 2 people fire engines, and we just had a large response area. So it'd be like you and me on a 1,000-gallon engine showing up to a fire, and it'd be a long time. Maybe the next person coming in is your battalion chief, and they're commanding the fire, and you're still waiting on another engine to get to you. So thrown in the hot seat, man, like you're messing up, right? You're giving size ups the best you can, and then your battalion chief rips your ass. Like, what were you thinking? Why were you doing like? You're like, I don't know. Like, I thought that was what I should do. So you learn very quickly, like, hey, maybe that thing I just did is not a good thing to do. And you just got a lot of experience, a lot of quick or very quick at a young age, and that has always served me well. So forever grateful for that opportunity for sure. Then coming to Michigan, I knew nothing, dude. Nothing of how this worked. My wife is from here, and she's like,
Is that why you moved to Michigan from Florida?
The first time, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, that, like I said, that was about 2014, right around Thanksgiving. She's like, I really miss home, and I want to go back to my family. And I've always had this like love affair of living in the North, and the change of seasons, because obviously going from New Jersey to Florida, I missed some of that at a young age. I was 11 when we moved from New Jersey. So here we are. I'm like, let's do it. Like, like we're starting a family. Like, let's just go. Fresh everything. Little did I know what that looked like for me, because I didn't do the research. So because I didn't do the research, I showed up here and found out very quickly there's not many places you can work. So I applied for the city of Detroit and got on their hiring list and waited and waited and waited, and did a part-time thing for department not too far from Ann Arbor, Plymouth Township. And it was a captain at Plymouth Township that was like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I want to be a fireman. And he's like, you need to go to paramedic school.
Gotcha.
Stop messing around here. Just go to paramedic school and get it done. And so I did, as much as I really wanted to work for the city of Detroit, and I was waiting, I just couldn't. I had a family and I needed to take care of them. I got hired, and then it was like the layoff game. Hey, you guys are hired on a grant. We can't keep all of you, so I hope you're looking for a new job. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on, man? I just moved my family across the country. And so I told Caitlin, I'm like, listen, I'm either going to do something different, or we need to go back to Florida so I can start putting back into my pension and start doing the things that I need to do. And landed in Pasco County, Florida, and worked there for a little bit and did the thing. So I've definitely had a non-traditional career, and working at all these various departments gave me various opportunities, which are awesome, and they also gave me various outlook on the fire service. So now working in Ann Arbor and having worked for the city of Venice previously, and these little places, you just see that operations are different, and it's not the same place if you work the same place your whole time. Not that that's a bad thing, because it's not, but like there's so much of the fire service. So I feel like making those decisions really shaped me into like why I do the things I do today and why I think the way I think. And, I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything.
That's awesome. What a great way to honestly learn so much about the fire service from different cultures of the state. Like you said, we all operate so differently. Fires go out the same, but we definitely operate in such different manners. I mean, even just the dialogue, the lingo, the way we call apparatus or something else, like having to pick up all these different terms for our equipment is something that you can take and build your own culture on. So wherever you go to, like, yeah, I learned this set of skills in this department, and you could hopefully have a good department that lets you try it out, and it might work for them. And you just literally brought it from another department. The whole culture shift. I think that's great to be able to bring in that learning atmosphere. When you were going through all these things and all these changes in departments and mistakes and tribulations, did you start writing a lot of these things down of what you've learned over time? Did you have like a nice thick journal as you're building?
I wrote down all my failures.
That's what I was hinting at. Like,
yeah,
because I really think that's important. My father-in-law, When I started the fire service, that was one of his things that he always ingrained in me is that you should start writing your fires down and writing events down so you can go back 20 years later and look at them. But I took it one step further. I'm like, I want to write down my mistakes and my failures so I know what worked, what didn't work, what I can improve on myself or for my crew.
Yeah. Yeah. Every place, like I said, I by no way tell everybody you should do what I did. Right. I'm gonna be honest. What I did was not for everybody, and it was a lot of risks, and moving every time you move, like you got to start over, right? And like you're trying to do something. And for me, like I finally said, enough of that. Like we're here now, and this is what we got to do. And it's really interesting because when you write down things and like where you failed or like maybe what your frustrations were, because that's what a lot of it was for me, was like, oh man, I'm frustrated. I'm just writing things, just getting it out. And then you look back at it later and you read through it and you're like, man, I was kind of a dick. You know what I mean? You're like, holy crap. So the good thing about what you're saying is I would highly encourage people to like reflect a little bit because although intentions are good, and I don't think, anybody's coming to work and be like, oh, you're fucking up, you're doing this wrong, what. Sometimes like that just not the approach you need. And in that moment, you think it is, right? And you think like you're doing something good, and you're like, man, I'm just passionate about the job. Why aren't you into it like the same way I am? And man, I don't want to ride this truck today. That freaking sucks. I want to be over there. And I lost sight of the big picture of like, what is it that I want from my career? Like, what can I bring to this agency? Like, how can we do this as a team? And that's the key word, like as a team, right? Because no one knows everything. No one's perfect. And you're talking about building something or whatever, like you gotta kind of do that delicately, right? Like nobody's gonna love somebody coming into their organization saying, you guys are doing this all wrong. Vice versa.
You have to have some tact.
You gotta have some tact, and vice versa. I don't care if you've been with an organization for 10 years, everybody eventually gets tired of you just nitpicking all the shit that you're not doing right and not highlighting anything that you do well. And so anyway, when you read that, you're like, oh man. And those are the major lessons that I've learned over decades, the past 2 decades of like, where did I start? What did I think then versus what do I think now? And what do I do? And I'll tell you, those are 2 very different Seans.
I love that. That's growth. Like you said, you got to reflect and grow as people. And man, like I've being humble and having humility, like learning that's tough, but man, what a way to grow from it. Like if you've never, like you said, like you've had someone who's been doing it, just nitpicking the shit out of you, I don't think they've ever really experienced that kind of humble or humility. And if you've never done that, and especially when you get older in your years and that moment happens, it's a very tough pill to swallow. So you have to be down to earth and realize you're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. we're all going to make an error. We're all going to make mistakes, but that's why I love like you remembering those and writing them down and reflecting upon them. And the same thing too, like I love like you just talked about, like going to those other departments and say, hey, if you want to try this, maybe this could be a little bit better. But there's a way to approach it. And obviously, like you said, like you have to do it with respect. And I've been there and I love it. I love it when I got a department. It's like, yeah, man, show us. Like you obviously love this stuff. You're not talking out of your ass, but you also present it real respectful. It's not like, hey, this is stupid. I don't like what you're doing. You guys look like a bunch of idiots. It's like, no, I like what you're doing. It works, but maybe we can make it easier. Let me just show you a little bit, something extra that might like be more helpful. You maybe get rid of this thing or get rid of that or include something. And they never thought about it before because you went to all those trainings or you worked in Florida and then you worked in New Jersey and then all of a sudden you're now in Michigan and you have all these different techniques that you've learned over that years, all those many years. It's cool to see that.
Yeah. You want to know the biggest thing I've learned, especially when it comes to like wanting to share like your excitement and stuff with people, is not to discredit for them for what they do or what they believe, because we're really good at in the fire service. Oh, that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen, or whatever. Like you just automatically put up those walls. I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, like the best thing that I feel is that anyone can do, which also I've learned the hard way, is, hey, let me show you what works well for me, and I'll tell you why. Whatever it is that works well for you, that's fine, because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one performing this task, not me. However, we both work in the same place, and we need to have a plan, because I could be on the rig with you today, and I need to know what you're thinking too. So let's just have a conversation. I don't expect you to agree with me, nor do I necessarily want you to, because I do think that in disagreement, there is learning. There's some growth there if you want it to be. Um, but having that approach of like, look, I'm a small guy. I'm 5'7". I'm 160 pounds. Like, I do this because it's easier for me. You're 6'4" and you're like 200 pounds. Like, obviously you got a height and some more weight to work with. So like, this may look different from you. I can't expect you to maybe move around as limber and as I do because you're bigger than me, right? Or maybe you're older than me, whatever the case is. So really just approaching it as a like, hey man, I care what you think too, even if it's not for me and I don't agree. Can we just talk about this? Like, why does that work for you? This is why this works for me. Just try it. And you come to a mutual agreement. Like, I mean, I'm gonna say what it is, dude. I freaking hate using webbing for victim drags. It's not my plan A. It's very far down my list, but I know there are people that do. So when I approach them, I ask them to show me why you do this. Okay. And I ask the questions. Well, how are you getting them from the floor out the window this way? And I'll tell you, man, some people show me some stuff and I'm like, still not a fan, still not my preferred, but like, that's not bad. You know what I mean? So rather than me chastising that person because they're like, I use this webbing or I use this strap or I use whatever, I now understand why and where they came to that conclusion versus just dismissing their idea because it's different than mine. And I feel like what I do is best. That's where we lose people, you know? And like, it took me a long time to learn that shit.
I love it, man. Absolutely. Freaking killed it with that. So now fast forwarding, you obviously still had that passion and you just as you just said, you're able to talk to people and have these agreements or disagreements respectfully. What then got you into writing? What got you into, because you've apparently are very accomplished with writing. You've submitted many articles in fire engineering and they're all fantastic. And you've also done the book of search. What was your first article and why?
Man, I love this question. So gosh, maybe this was 2019, I think. So I actually sat down. I've always wanted to write. I never thought I was good enough. I was like, man, nobody gives a shit what I have to say. I'm not that smart, right? Like I'm not good with words. I'm a fireman. I use cuss words, right? Like,
Hey, how do you do it without swearing every
right.
5 seconds,
Like,
right?
I barely graduated high school. Like when I went to college, I somehow graduated with a 4.0 GPA, but I still felt stupid.
We call that an idiot savant.
You know, I'm like, I have no idea how that happened. Anyhow, I was actually taking a class, an online class, The Art of Go No Go by Mike Galliano. And at the end of his class, he said something, and for whatever reason, it resonated with me. He's like, if you want to write an article for fire engineering, or if I can help you out anyway, please contact me. And I sat on that for a minute. I'm like, oh, what the hell? And I did. I think it was that night, actually. I shot off an email. I'm very interested in writing for fire engineering. How do I do this? You know, and he gave me some guidance. And he's like, well, just write something and send it to me. And, you know, I'll take a look at it. I can't promise it'll go anywhere, but, you know, maybe will. So I then spent, gosh, I don't know, a month or more, just every day, just hitting the keyboard, you typing away, just brain dumping onto this thing. And I sent it to him and like, he sent it to be reviewed and whatever. And then I got this email back. It's like, hey, please expand on this. And I did. And next thing you know, I get the nice thing from Diane of, congratulations, your article is going to be published. From the time that I wrote that article, edited it all, it got submitted and it got published was well over a year from start to finish. And then it came out and it was Searchable versus Survivable, Educated Decision Making, which is the name of the class that I do at FDIC and all over the place. That was like 6-page article. Blew my mind that they would even do it. And so that was it. I wrote that and I sat on that forever. I was just like, man, I don't know if I got anything else. And as I started going to more fires and I started like getting more things and shifting my mind into that, I was like, I can use this. I can use that. Like, and dude, honestly, like big super nerd if the glasses didn't give it away, right? Like I have on my phone, like the Samsung notes thing and just randomly stuff pops in my head. I'm like, pull that out, type it in there. And like, as it's coming out, I'm just typing it and I'll just leave it. And then I'll see something on Facebook or whatever. And I'm like, that's it. I got to write something about it. And I'll refer to my notes and you know, whatever.
I'm always doing voice memos on my drive to and from work.
Yeah.
in the mornings, especially, I don't know what it is, like everything's just firing all together. That's when my brain is like really on fire. And as I'm driving to work, it just the same thing, boom. And I turn on my voice memo and I start talking into my phone.
Yeah. Or you want to know what's really good when someone says something that really pisses you off? You're like, oh, I can't believe that person said that. It gets you thinking, like, why am I so angry right now about this? And then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
like, the ideas start coming and you're like, oh, this is why. So long story short, that was the first article. And then I followed it up with civilian rescue, removing the occupant, because I'm a strong believer in the fact of everybody wants to teach search right now. For some reason, it's like the hot topic. My reasoning for wanting to do search was frustration and things that I've seen throughout my career of like, I think we could do this better. I think I understand this. I've taken some classes. I've applied some things on Fireground. Like, I think I'm kind of getting good at this. I don't know. And, that was my reasoning for wanting to get out there, is like basically share my failures with people and say, this is what I've learned. This works. That didn't. We need to be in the building faster. We need to stop saying nobody can possibly survive. And I had no idea about firefighter rescue survey at this point. None. So I'm like, well, if I feel this way, someone else has got to feel this way too.
Why do you feel this way? That's what I meant. Like, so what is it about search? And because you wrote in Book of Search, most of your articles have to do with civilian rescues and search. What sparked it? Was it just something that just attracted you, or was there a call that said, that's just sat in your mind and you're like, you know what, I'm going to dedicate a bulk of my brain power of writing about search and teaching it?
It's twofold. That's a twofold thing for me. So the first half, what spurred it, I was not taught search well in the academy. Not to take it away from anybody, I wasn't really taught search well at all. And I was going to fires and I'm like, cool, we got this. And I'm going to own this. I guess as I get older, like, you can reflect back and realize things. There was a fire when I was a volunteer in Hillsborough County where like we showed up and dude, I was so arrogant, dude. I was so arrogant. Like, I thought I was like the shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm a badass fireman. Like, got this. Like, at that young of an age to be that arrogant is very dangerous, as you're about to find out. So, basically, we showed up. The first engine had a pump failure. They couldn't get the line charged, and somebody had said to us, "I think she's still in there." Right? And I looked at the fireman. I couldn't even tell you who it was. It wasn't someone on my crew. Accountability, right? I'm like, hey, let's go make this search. Definitely not my call to make as a fireman. I had no officer with me. This was not relayed via radio or anything else, and we go in. Dumbass, right? So we're going to go right, because that's where the bedroom was. And we went in there and, I went in and made a real good search. But at some point, like, my partner is not with me anymore. I don't know when or why, but we were separated. Door was shut behind us. So nobody really knows I'm in here. Right. Now I'm freaked out. I'm like, I got to get out of here. And, found my way back to door, opened up, walked out, had nice burnt up helmet and gear. And it was awesome. And, I gave that firefighter a hug when I got out. I was like, whoa, my mind was just totally blown. Like, what the fuck just happened? I hope you don't mind I cuss on here, because
Please do.
I was just like, wow. And I sat there that night and I reflected. I was like, I need to be better. Like, I almost could have died. This was not I had no way to talk to anybody. I didn't have a partner. I just blindly acted out of emotion instead of intelligence. Whoa. And that was a turning point for me of like, I need to get better. So I started taking search classes and I started really honing on this, because that was not going to happen to me again. I didn't want that. And then some more failures come, right? And you learn that. And then going to fires and, you're sitting there and you're watching people get pulled out of these buildings. And if you've never been on a fire where someone's getting pulled out, it's so surreal. It's almost like time stops, because you're just like, holy shit, like, that's a person and they're burnt up or they're whatever. Like, although we should expect that as firefighters, something happened every time. And I just remember being like, did we get there fast enough? Did we get in the house fast enough? Did we prioritize 2 lines over getting people in the building for search? Like, is this our fault? Is it this? And again, this is coming from a time where it's like, oh, they were probably dead before we got there, right? Like, oh, we did everything we could. We did a search and I just remember thinking like, man, like these searches could be happening faster. If I felt like we could be getting on search faster. So not only putting people in, but like actually doing the task. And I'm like, man, something's got to happen. And when you are placed in those positions, man, you're just like, I just remember that when I became a fireman, life was the reason I wanted to save people. Everyone says I want to help people. I wanted to save people. Like I
I like
had
that.
this great like vision, like firefighters get off the engine or the ladder truck and they break in doors and they do badass shit and they grab people from their beds and they run out. Like that was like, intoxicating in my mind. Like, wow, that's what we all want to do. So preparation, to answer your question, is I am not prepared for this. I need to make myself prepared for this because when this opportunity comes, not if, but when, I want to be set up for success. And like that started my obsession with search. And, as you go to fires and you learn from people and you hear stories from other people's fires and you ask them like, well, what did you do? And you bring that back and it's just all around learning experience, right? And throughout my career, I've put my hands on 3 people. That's it. So not very much. And I'm not ashamed to say that because honestly, I hope I don't ever put my hands on another one, but I'm going to
Mm.
be ready for when it happens. Um, so that's what got me in the search to write and all that other stuff. Like, it was just like, I just wanted to share. I wanted to see if other people agreed, right? I just like, yeah, I'm fully prepared that people are like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever read. You're an idiot. And that's fine. Like, but I'm like, I'm just going to get what I know out there because we do a poor job in the fire service of getting information out and then we blame everyone else. So,
I love it, man. That's great explanation of the why. And I love it that you're there to save. I love that you want to save people, not just rescue people. Help people, but to save them, to rescue them. I think that's a great way to add that urgency to it. Then you have civilian rescue, removing the occupant. And then you have the size of the search effort and searchable versus survivable educated decision making. And that's the one you really stuck with. That's the one that you teach a lot on. Why is it, out of the many that you have submitted, the ones that really have grown, why is it that one in particular that you really like?
I love it because we're all in an echo chamber, right? Anyone who teaches search, we're all teaching the same stuff, right? You can take a search class, like everybody's saying the same things, maybe not as eloquently as others do, but the principle is there, right? The reason I stuck with that is because I have made it my mission to change the mindset on what search is and what we can do and how effective we can be. And I can't do that without explaining the why behind the conclusion, right? I can tell you, you know, jump in that window and shut that door, or, this is how we do a split search or whatever. But if I can't tell you why and then support that with data, like things we can prove, then it's just an opinion. And I hate that shit. Like, I'm sorry. The fire service should not operate on opinion. There is too much at stake, right? We are asking people to put their lives on the line, and you want me to just trust your opinion? I don't think so. Like, let's be educated in our decision-making process, understand the why, so that when we look at something, we can be on it now and we can know this is a good or a bad decision. Because the reality is our fire service is getting younger, okay? A lot of experience, a lot of people that were fighting fire during the war years and all that good shit, they're leaving. And if we haven't passed that down to the future generation, you've got people in fire departments that have been on 5, 6, 7 years and now they're a lieutenant. And it is what it is. I'm not going to shit on that. Our department's young too. But if that person making that decision doesn't know why they're making that decision and they can't back up that decision, then it's all theory, right? And I just don't want to see us operate that way. I want us to be able to be confident, to be able to back it up. I want us to sit out there and be like, hey, this is a no-go situation because of X, Y, and Z, find another way in. Or, hey, if somebody's in this room, if somebody's in that house, statistically, they're likely to be there because that's a fucking bedroom window and we're going to try and make this happen. I want people to understand what searchable space truly is. Not what you think it is, but what it actually means. Can I get in there with my bunker gear? Can I get in there with, the knowledge I have of searching, all these things? If that answer is yes, then we're going. right? Like there are other things that might have to happen to support that, but like everything on the fire ground, man, is in support of the search. That's just fact. And because of that reason is why I'm like, dude, we need to know all this shit before we start doing anything. And if you can't, then like, I don't know if I want that decision to be made by you. And that's not being negative. That's just like, hey, the worst thing we can do is not prepare people and expect a successful outcome because, hey, you did your best. Let's be better than that, right? Like we can be better than that. And that's why I hung on that so much because the data is always changing. The science is always changing. Like, we've got to take what we're proving and apply it to the street, understanding that maybe not all of it matters to us in the fact that like, I might not be able to do what you can do in your fire department because I just don't have staffing. But regardless of your staffing level or your response time or whatever that may be, your primary objectives of that fire ground are exactly the same no matter what fire department you work for or volunteer for in this country. It's not changing. And I am
I love
sick.
it.
I'm tired of hearing audio or coming across an article or something where we had an opportunity to do something we chose not to because we were either afraid or we just didn't understand it. That's it.
Brother, I love that passion, dude. I love the energy of that because it's you can tell it's important to you and it's something that's real. And we have such an amazing world that we're living in right now with the technology, with the information at our fingertips. So there's no excuse to go off just opinion, and you have all this data, like I said, and we talk a lot about that, which is great. There's people that really do look into the data. They read up on all this material. Literally, it's on the fingertips of your phone or at your computer. You don't have to try searching for books anymore. It's all right there with these surveys on here as well, with the firefighter rescue survey, and I think it's great that you're using that data. I feel like sometimes people get a little pissy about it because like, well, who is he to teach this and who's he to teach that? Right. Because you're young, you're still relatively young. So people get a little pissy because who's this young dude with the throat tattoo teaching me how to do search? But you're educating yourself and you've made it, like you just said, like I've only done 3 victim removals, 3. And you're saying right there, I hope I only have to do 3. Right. And I think that's something to be commendable about that. You're still educating yourself, even though you're not doing it every day, but you still want to be prepared. And that's what I love about people who teach this stuff, because they do have a passion for it, because it's not about because I've done it so much, but I'm preparing myself so when it happens, and I'm doing that knowledge and that education. And so you obviously are so passionate about it that you've built your own training cadre as well, and it's build your culture. So can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So build your culture was by accident. And again, I tell this everywhere, much like anything, it's our frustrations, right? So if you haven't met my good buddy, Pablo Jenner, amazing dude. He works for Jacksonville Fire Rescue. That guy, when I got hired at Pasco, I had one conversation with him. I'm like, dude, I've never met anybody that's into the job like me and my wife. Like, this is it. And like, he literally said the same thing. So like, obviously we meshed, right? And through talking and stuff, like, obviously we're now working for the same fire department. We come from similar backgrounds, in the fire service. And like, just like, we're like, dude, we have so much in
Did
common.
we just become best friends?
Yeah, basically, right? So we're at Orlando Fire Conference, and we're just doing what we do at the end of the day, right? Just talking shop, having some beers and stuff. And Paulo says to me, it's really about building culture, building your culture. And at that point, he had a Instagram page, Central Florida Fire Tactics, and he was running that. And we opted. We're like, you know what? Let's change the name to Build Your Culture, because that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to encourage people and empower them that like, hey, you need to do something, right? And it might take a while for this to blossom, and that's fine. And it may never blossom, and that's okay too. But like, the fact of you just sitting idle is not okay. So if this is how you feel and this is what you want to do, like, insert topic here: engine work, truck work, I don't know, leadership, whatever. It all starts with you and your attitude and how we can get other people inspired to do the same. So that's what we did. And when we started teaching, we didn't want it to be like what Pablo said or Sean said. Like, we just wanted it to be a think tank, right? Like, so hence hey, build your culture, right? That's what we started throwing everything under. And we developed a culture class for firemen, by firemen type thing of, hey, like leading from the bottom, like in your role, what can you do to impact change? How can you deal with this? And like, we started just going down that route. And, even today, everything we teach, whether it be search or truck company ops or everything is geared towards that. We're going to show you what best practice is. We're going to teach you where we failed. We're going to show you where we were successful. We're going to help you develop maybe your own way of doing things. But at the end of the day, you're going to take all of this and you're going to go back to your fire department and you're going to continue. Whether that's you every day throwing ladders by yourself while everybody watches, eventually one person will come out and be like, hey, man, let me do this with you or whatever. It's consistency, right? And Pablo says it's so beautiful. He's like, discipline and motivation. That's what it is. So motivation starts you, right? But discipline is what stays and carries you on. So anybody can be motivated, right? Maybe they go to a class, they come back or fired up, FDIC, whatever it is. And now they're motivated. They want to come back. Oh, I'm going to start changing stuff. I'm going to start doing things. But then they hit a wall, and because they can't stay disciplined, and it's not about consistency, and they can't do that 10% of pressure 100% of time like Rob Fisher talks about, right? Like just for whatever reason they give up, that's where we were saying, don't give up. Keep going, because you never know what your circle of influence is, right? You never know who's watching you, who's like looking up to the things that you're doing. So just, it sucks. Sometimes it can be a lonely road. But if this is what you care about and this is what you want to see, you need to stay disciplined and you need to be consistent in your actions so that people don't go, that person's a hypocrite. He talks like this, but then he acts like this. Like that can't happen. So that's where build your culture came in. Like, man, is like, dude, ain't nobody can do this. So you might as well take the reins and see where you go with it.
I love that. That is fantastic. That's the stuff that I love to listen to. That's the stuff I think it's so important. Like I say, you can talk about it or you can be about it. And, we can, just like that. You could talk a big game, but if you're not being it, if you're not getting out, whether it's training, working out, taking classes, and again, it's not guilt trips either. It's building that culture. This is not about like, you suck as a firefighter because you didn't do a gear workout with me today, or you're not going to enough conferences. It's just literally, it's just like you said, like how to eat an elephant, right? Like one bite at a time. Slowly you'll develop that culture, but it takes time. And I strongly believe that it's not about shaming anybody and trying to make people feel guilty because they're not have that same passion. They're eventually going to see it. They'll eventually come to fruition that, hey, holy shit, Sean's got it going on. I want to see more of that. I want to feel more of that brotherhood, that connective environment. So I love that you're building that you changed it into that, and that is your motto, your credo of just building the culture of making people better. How do you choose your cadre members? Because I was looking at the list as you were talking, and you have some solid people on there. So how did you get your list of cadre members on there?
Well, at first it was just me and Pablo, and then either myself or Pablo would be like, hey, I know this really solid dude, like he's into it too, and then like we bring people in, and over time people have left naturally, but basically where we're at now is I care that the people coming in have the same values. Instructors are a dime a dozen. That is what it is. I mean, just because you have a piece of paper that says you can doesn't mean you will. So it's very important for me when someone's like, hey, how do I get on the cadre, that I say, well, first, let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Let me get to know you and see what this is like. And it's very rare that we bring strangers on because, anybody can pretend, right? So like, I kind of want to get to know someone. But there's a process, and the process is typically like, hey, why don't you come out to one of our trainings, right? We're not going to pay you, but, maybe we can put you up in a hotel room or something like that, get you a meal or two or whatever that is. But just come out and see if this is even what you really want to do, right? Like, and then we'll talk about it. And we usually have people come out and do that in like shadow programs, and see, and then as they're developing that, like, it's like, hey, you're showing me that this is something you want, that you care about. I'm starting to get to know you a little bit better. Cool. So I'll tell you what, why don't you teach this portion today? And, slowly over time, we give them more stuff to do, and, we're like, hey, Cool. Some of our instructors have come by accident because I've been somewhere and, some of our guys just couldn't come and like people have come through and I'm like, I like you and you and I, man, we're just jiving and you could just pick up on it. Like, hey, this is a good fit. So there's no real like definite, but we always try and make sure that like, hey, like as weird as this sounds, the build your culture, I don't want to say brand because I mean, I guess you could call it that, but it's the build your culture name, whether it's me or you or somebody else, it has to be the same. If you're out there doing some crazy off the wall shit and you're like, yeah, I'm a build your culture cadre member, like, then that kind of muddies the mission of what we're trying to do. And it's a black eye. And I try and make sure that it's consistent enough that like, hey, we're all imperfect, right? Like we're gonna mess up, say or do something. I get that. But we have to keep that level high, our standard high for all of us, because like I don't ever want to like meet it. I want to exceed that shit. And I want stuff to be high that I'm never going to exceed it because it's just not possible. And that's what I expect out of all of our instructors too, is be a student, be a good person, like give a shit about the students, right? Spend time with them. Like, I don't care. I'm here 8 to 5. I'll be here till 3 a.m. if that's what you need, because I'm here for you. And this is what we're doing. Also, don't be a dick to them, right? Let them, you know how many times like our instructors are like, show me, you got something different. Let's go. Like, we're a team here, man. Like, this is our environment. And that's really the magic is building that family environment, that learning environment, that thing that when they leave, they're like, wow, man, like that was so good. And it's not about I did a live fire training with those guys and we had hot ass fires. Man, I don't give a fuck about the hot ass fires. That's not why we're there. We're there to really start building things, because when we inspire each other, that mission starts to compound. And that's why we do what we do, right? I could go get a part-time job doing anything else if I gave a shit about money, right? I give a shit about people. I give a shit about the fire service. And I want to make sure that like we're all going in the right direction. So I expect that out of my instructors too. And guess what? If that's not you and you happen to get in, you're going to quickly find your way out, because we don't operate like that. We're very, very picky about, what kind of character these people have.
I love it, bro. You're absolutely right. And you're developing that bond. And that's what, when I see like a really good core of training, because there's so many out there now, right? There's so many training groups out there. And it's all kind of, let's be real. This is not difficult what we're doing, right? What we're doing is it's easy, right? For the most part, like the skills, once you get those skills, though, you got to build upon them. And it's hard, but it's simple if you're doing it right and you're paying attention. So when you have your training cadres and you're developing that, like you have to have a good person who gives a shit. They're not going to be you're doing like hard, strenuous work in the parking lot. They're on air. Like Jay Fulmer says, like, I'm going to be in gear. I want my cadre members to be in gear. I'm putting in sweat equity with my students. Like if they're getting taxed, then I go off on them because they can't do that evolution because they've been breathing down a bottle and I've been standing over them with shorts on. Like, who's the asshole? So you have to treat people right. You have to understand that they're working hard. And then if you're going to stand there and point fingers at them and just yell at them, then what are you teaching them? All they remember is this guy was a dick. And I've had that in my experience in my life. If when I was coming up in the fire service, all I ever had was this guy half the time was always yelling at us, telling us how much we sucked. They didn't give us the why. He didn't explain things. He just told us that we need to be better, and you suck physically or you suck mentally.
Yeah. Well,
I love the fact that you're about that. You're about like, hey, we're going to do the basics with you and we're going to help you grow. Because I always see the positive feedback is when you have instructors like yourself that develop a core group of your cadre that actually are doing the work with them. They're sweating with them. And they're treating them with respect. You can see when somebody isn't getting it as a student, that instructor will come up and go, not to make them look like shit either. Sometimes they'll pull them aside or they'll just come to me. You can see them like whisper in their ear. And then all of a sudden they're taking off and they're getting it.
Yeah. That it's there's so much to what you said that I want to touch on. I won't spend too much time. But we will never expect our students to do something that we haven't shown them first. I cannot stand when I take trainings or when I see other people training, you're going to do this, okay, cool, let's get done. No. Talking about a skill and doing a skill are two different things. I do not want myself or any of my instructors to just talk about it. I'm going to show you that I can do it, because if I can't do it, you're not doing it either. And there's too many instructors that have this ego that they expect this crazy stuff out of their students, and they have no idea what they're asking because they've never fucking done it. Okay. How can I tell you, take this 375-pound person, push him out that window by yourself, if I don't show you how to do it? Because it's about building trust, believe it or not. Okay. I need you to trust me that I'm not just here to pad my ego, right? Because let's be honest, none of those people know who I am. Like, they don't know me as a person. They don't know what I'm capable of doing until I show them. And it's about confidence. If I show you that me at 5'7", 160 pounds can do this, and I show you how to do it, then there's confidence that you can do it too. And we dissect that together. We problem solve together, and then everyone does it. And you encourage them and you build them up. You don't be like, no, all right, next, and push them along because they're not cattle, right? The second thing that I cannot stand is, well, two of three. Second thing I can't stand is, like, I'm sorry, man, like, as John Sparrow says, like, you lost the right to be out of shape the day you took the oath. And
Yes,
as
sir.
cheesy as people think that is, like, I am so sick and tired of seeing out of shape fire instructors telling me what the fuck to do. Bro, you can't even walk up 2 flights of stairs without being out of breath, and you're going to tell me how to do air consumption drills? I don't fucking think so.
I tell you, man, I almost turn my brain off when I see an instructor, and I see pictures of it, and I go online, and it's just, it's going to sound bad, like you said, like, I'm not trying to shit on people, but when you have a dude that is literally obese and overweight, and he can't even get down to bend his shoe, to tie his shoes, how are you going to teach me to do anything? Because I want you to get down on that ground and crawl with me. I want you to fit through a tube to show me how to crawl through that tube, not to stand over me. So yeah, man, that's a big thing for me too. I can't stand it when I see instructors that are just huge, especially these training cadres, because they've, hey, you know, I'm so-and-so with training, whatever. I can be fat and out of shape. No, that doesn't work for me.
It doesn't. The third thing, I shouldn't let this bother me as much because it really has nothing to do with me, is when somebody goes and says, hey, I want you to be on my cadre. You ever think about that? And they're like, yeah, I'll do it. Okay, I understand that people have varying levels of knowledge. Let's be honest here. When you have somebody who maybe has a year on the job or might have just graduated the fire academy or whatever, and you say, hey, I got a training company, you want to come work for me? You're fucking your students, period. And I'm not saying that time on the job matters and that somehow makes you an expert. What I'm saying is the people that you select to go teach other people should have had an opportunity to learn about the job a little bit, should have had an opportunity to fail and be humbled and be like, well, shit, I'm not as good as I thought I was. Those are all important aspects of building an instructor. And this idea that anyone can instruct is absolutely crazy to me because it is very different. And again, not taking anything away from anyone, not trying to be negative, but like, let's look at the seriousness of this. I come into your fire department and I'm teaching you, and you do exactly what I tell you to do when I leave. Am I responsible for what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I am, because I told you to do it. And if I've never put myself in an experience to know if that truly works or truly doesn't, or I've never been to a fire, but here I am because someone wanted to bring me on because they thought I was fun or whatever, I am not doing anybody any good. We are taking a giant step backwards. I know that nothing is done like with ill intent, but the byproduct of what we're doing by not carefully vetting who we're bringing into our cadre groups and what their expertise are, not even expertise, what their knowledge is of that skill that you're expecting them to teach other people, it's a big deal. It's a big weight to carry on our shoulders, and like, you know, just make sure that you got the right people.
I couldn't agree with you more. I had it was an indirect conversation. I wasn't included, but it was something that it took to heart, and it was a gentleman who's very prominent in what we do, and he goes around and teaches all over. But he made a comment that you know, I haven't done enough. I haven't learned enough. I'm not experienced enough to be teaching. Like I taught at a conference recently, and it was about firefighter survival. And it was something that was really important to me because I like you. I want us to be prepared. And I love teaching firefighter survival. I love taking these classes. I love taking RIT classes. And you can't just take one class and then label yourself as an expert in that. And so I think he felt like I couldn't teach a subject because I hadn't done enough. But I mean, he doesn't know everything I go to, right? So I have dedicated a lot of time and energy and money and to do these classes, to learn, to absorb, because I want to bring it back. But I totally agree with him, though, that you have to put in your time, whether it's on the job and in teaching and learning from it, not just teaching, but you have to go. And it's not just 2 classes and say, all right, I did 2 parking lot pushes, I now can teach you how to move hoses. No, I mean, like, you have to still put in that equity. If you're gonna label yourself a firefighter, hopefully you go to fires and you advance hose lines in, and you're stretching lines, and you're getting the job done. But I know we're not fortunate enough, especially today's world, that we're not going to get a lot of those fires. But we can still take a lot of classes to be prepared and to learn. But on that tangent is just that take the time. Like I said before, appreciate the process. Appreciate everything that someone's got to give you. Just don't go to these conferences and expect to be invited into the cadre. Like, you're there to learn. Don't try to, sniff their butts and try to hopefully get invited if you've never done it before. Because I feel like with you, and I've mentioned before, like Dadgum and Bears of the Oath and a lot of these great ambassadors of the craft, like, so those cadres really stuck out to me because they've really developed their training cadres. They've picked the best of the best in their mind to be a part of that group. And you have to develop that bond. You have to know that person that is going to be, you can leave the drill yard to go to handle business, and that other instructor of yours is going to teach them exactly what you want them to teach, that they're going to be respectful, that they're going to be able to deliver that message and treat people with respect, but also that they have the street smarts, they have the knowledge, that you don't have to babysit them because they're not going to know what to say. Especially if an instructor, a student says, why do you do this? Or how do you do that? What happens if I come to this? Because some of those questions could definitely be curveballs, and you're going to be standing there going, oh shit, I wasn't prepared for a Q&A. That comes with experience, right?
My favorite questions in the world are why or what if, for several reasons. One, I love that people challenge, as they should, right? Everyone's looking at you eyeballs this big because somehow you're the subject matter expert, right? And like, oh, and then instructors get offended when a student goes, wait a minute, I have a question. And then they question what you say instead of going, okay, and thinking about it and listening to them. It is awesome when you can dissect it and be like, okay, cool. So here's why. So this doesn't work because this, let me show you. Or this doesn't work, I did that before, this is what happened, this is why I now do this. Have you had that experience? No, I have not. Okay, I hope you never do, but this is why I think. Now, does that mean that what I'm telling you to do here is 100% time going to work? No, it doesn't. But in my experience thus far, this is what served me well. And you can give them peace of mind that, like, the advice that you gave or the skill that you're trying to teach isn't just something you saw on fucking YouTube, right? Let's be honest. The other thing I love about teaching is when someone gives you that stumper and you're like, you can always tell a bullshit person when they're just trying to fumble their way through and like convince. Like, I should never have to convince you of something. I'm going to tell you, this is why it is the way it is. Agree with it or disagree with it, but this is why the way it is. The fact that I have to try and convince you, that should be like whoa, hold on a second. And I'm not saying that there isn't times where like we talk and need to do that convincing, but like a bullshit person will just keep going and going and going. And like when someone's like, yeah, okay, I got it. Because they really want you to know that they know the thing. I love it when I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have an answer for you because I don't have that experience yet. I cannot physically tell you the correct answer. However, if you find out, I want to know. And if I find out, I will tell you as well. So before the end of the day, let's exchange some information. So that way, if this happens, both of us can touch base and be like, that thing, it happened. And this is what I did. Great. Did it work? No, it did not. Well, how did you fix it? Because guess what that allows me to do now? Now I've learned that. Although I haven't performed it myself, the next time someone asks me that question or a similar question, I go, you know what? I personally don't have that experience. However, this question came up 6 months ago, and that individual actually had this, and this is what they told me, and this is what they did. So why don't we try that? That's the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That it again, it comes with being humble too, and not being acting like a fucking know-it-all. And you've been at that level before. I love it because I love it when when people ask those questions. I don't know, but I'm going to get back to you on that one. That's it. Beautiful. Because then that student's like, yep, all right, man, cool. Like, plus it also gives you that a little bit of a opportunity to like, let's exchange numbers because like, let's talk more because it's a great question. So you're paying attention because I love it when people are asking those important questions. And just like you said, like just the trying to sell it or, you just have a room full of people just going, yep, whatever you're saying is good. Yep. I agree 100%.
talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to touch on too, your Great Lakes, conference that's coming up.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Oh man. How much time you got? No. Little backstory about it. Obviously I came from Florida. That's where I started my fire service career. That's where I spent the bulk of my time. Everyone knows Florida's got something going on all the time. Orlando Fire Conference, Chief Ike and what he does, and just all the fools trainings and stuff. I mean, it's just littered. I mean, if you like to train, there's always something to do. Well, I came to Michigan, that was not the case. That just did not exist. And it's not that there wasn't training. It just wasn't quite what I was used to. So I'm like, where are all the fire conferences at? Well, we had the fire chiefs conference, we had the instructors conference, and we had like whatever classes state instructors put on. Okay, cool. Not taking anything away from them, just wasn't for me. I wanted more. So I decided to create it. And basically, I brought all my friends, started the first year with Todd Edwards and Steve Robertson, Kyle Ramagus. We did the first one. It went well. There's like 50 people. And then, it was received pretty well that we did another one and then another one. And it just continued to grow. And here we are. And we have some hiccups. Like I said, we're not perfect, and as we grow, obviously things get a lot harder for me to manage. So I give them to other people. And as well as I do, when you give them to other people, those also have their own challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that to say it's a labor of love. You have to really really put time into it, with that, you grow it the best you can and you hope the students are getting what they get from it. So here we are going into fifth year. We've got people from Germany. We've got people from Australia. We've got a ton of people from our own state of Michigan and other people throughout the country, that are coming. And, we got some of the best instructors, I believe, in the country. A lot of them are friends of mine. A lot of them FDIC instructors, very, very, welcome knowledge.
So you've been building this. You've got spouse classes as well.
We do. So, aside from bringing my friends who I just think the world of because they are far smarter than me and, have done way more in their careers than I have. I also was like, you know what, we got to bring the spouses. And that's a thing that started happening throughout the fire service. I think it's absolutely incredible because let's be honest, between our 24, 48 or whatever shift you work, we're away from home quite a bit.
Yeah.
Somebody like me who also loves to teach on the side, add that away. Right. So, I wanted to make sure that it's like, hey, your family's welcome here. Your kids, your wife, your spouse, whatever, just come and bring them. And while they're here, we'll make sure that they have things to do. So we allow them to step into their spouse's shoes and they can come down to the hot site and put on gear and force doors and stretch lines and do whatever it is that their spouses are doing. If they choose to do so, they can just come and hang out and watch their spouse do what they love to do. Just little activities like my wife and some of the other wives from the Build Your Culture cadre, they get together.
Nice.
And hopefully that's like a bonding thing for you and your spouse. And just really just like make it what it's supposed to be, that fire services family. And that was really the goal. And that's what we hope to continue.
Yeah, it seems like it's a great success every year. I always see all the media on it and the presenters and instructors you have on there. And looking at the pictures, it's solid work you guys got going on. And so it's going to be in June, correct?
It's in June every year as of now. We haven't changed it. It's generally like the week of Father's Day. We're trying to look at that. But as you know, as more conferences start popping up and doing things, like there's always the whole like, oh man, like I kind of want my thing to be not when other people's things are. Not that I'm in competition, just like, man, there's so many options. I want people to be able to spread this out and be like, well, I can't make that one because I just went to one 2 weeks ago. Right. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
there's a chance it could move, but currently right now there's no plans of that. We're going to keep it in June, and it stays in Southeast Michigan, and maybe eventually like we'll have the team large enough that we can do 2 a year, and
Okay, nice.
that's
That'd
the
be
goal.
awesome.
So we're going to keep
So
doing
I've
it.
never been to Michigan.
No?
So I hope I can make it to Michigan. I've never been to the Great Lakes training. I'm hoping it's on my list. And I hope to actually make it out to Michigan. Never been. So I'd love to visit. Now I get an excuse to visit. So that'd be great. So you have the Great Lakes. That is going to be June 10th through the 13th. Registration's currently open, sir?
Registration is currently opening or currently opened. It honestly, the first day we opened registration, almost all the classes sold out. Within like the first week, all the major classes sold out. So what we have open now is like extrication, RIT, and station RIT. There's like another one open. I'd have to look at it, but most of them were sold out. So if you want to come, I would highly recommend to get on it,
Beautiful.
and get part of it. So.
Love it. So there you have it, folks. So check in on the Great Lakes Fire Conference. It's going to be June 10th through the 13th. Great Lakes, Michigan's premier hot fire conference. I'm looking at it now on the website. It's a great website. By the way, it's easy to use. Registration links right there. They list where if you need to stay somewhere. They got hotels listed. They list the training sites. Man, it's gonna be a great time. So hopefully I can make that over. But if I can't, doesn't mean you can't. So guys, sign up for it. Check it out. Classes are filling up soon. And if people want to find you, where can they find you?
Pretty easy to find. I'm not the Secretary of Defense, so don't get confused. I get so many videos and texts about that. Oh, look, it made the news. I'm like, anyway, Sean Duffy Facebook page. You'll see me in my mug right there on the front. You can go to Instagram, same thing. Sean Duffy 86. Got our Build Your Culture page, Great Lakes Hot page. You can email me if you choose. I will warn you, if you email me, I'm not the best at getting back to you right away. So you might have to email me and be like, hey, dumbass, I emailed you like a week ago. Can you give me an answer? But just keep at it, and I'll get back to email. My email is duffy558@gmail.com. So send me hate mail, how much I suck, do whatever you want. I don't care. I'll read them. I'll read them all. But yeah, if you want, send me a Facebook Messenger. We'll chat. People like to do that too. I don't mind. If I'm not busy, and I have nothing better to do, and you're not bothering me, hit me up. If I'm busy, I'll let you know.
And any conferences that you're going to be teaching at?
Oh man, yeah. You're going to force me to pull out my calendar and look. So we got March Mayhem. We're doing that. We're actually going to be in British Columbia in February, off of Victoria Island, doing a search class there. We've got let's see, obviously FDIC, going to do that. We got a class in Pennsylvania actually to do in May. Obviously June's Great Lakes Hot, and firemanship in July. So that's going to be awesome. Come to Grab Lab. We're going to be doing some awesome stuff this year that we haven't done in other classes. It's a really good fun time.
All right.
That's it. That's about it. Ontario, we'll be in Ontario in September. So, spending a lot of time with our friends in Canada this year, which is awesome. We love going there. So, hey, they love us. We love them. It's a great time. So that's what we got planned so far. We try and keep the site updated. So if something's not on there, we'll just hit us up and ask us where we're going to be.
Fantastic. So there you have it, folks. He's going to be traveling around. You can find Sean Duffy at the March Mayhem Fire Conference. It's going to be in March. Hence the name. I'll be there as well. So we'll be doing a lot of pod classes as well, interviewing instructors, students, you name it. We'll be in the drill yard, getting boots on the ground, showing everybody live feeds of what's going on at March Mayhem. Sean Duffy will be teaching his classes as well. Myself and Preston Lyons from the Collective Overhaul. We're going to be there interviewing and just having a lot of fun talking to everybody there. I think that's why it's super important is get us out there so we can show everybody what it's about so you guys can see it and maybe next year, if you didn't make it this year, the next year you'll be more prompted to want to make these classes. So I really appreciate you, man. Also check out Frederick County, Maryland in March as well. You have the Key City Fire Conference. You have March Mayhem going on. You have FDIC. You got Great Lakes in June. Firemanship in July. That's another one that's on my bucket list. I'm hoping I make that one in July. You heard it right there, Sean Duffy. Check out the Grab Lives evolution. It's going to be legit. So I'm hoping I can make that one. I've always heard really good things about the Firemanship Conference. Excuse me. I've had guys from up north here attend it, and they always say how much they enjoy it. Plus, just honestly, the networking firemanship of brotherhood and sisterhood that comes with the Firemanship Conference too. So check that out. We also have Bears of the Oath in February as well. I didn't want to leave that one out. February is coming up. So if you haven't registered for Bears of the Oath, I recommend you do so. That one is another legit, like we talk about working instructors. Those guys are working instructors. Like they're there in gear. They're sweating with you. They're forcing doors with you. They're in the burn rooms with you, not just standing around, but they're either going to be victims or they're going to show you how to do the work. So check out Bears of the Oath. I was just there for RIT. I loved it. It was fantastic. 2 days of getting your ass kicked, and I wanted more. So check out Bears of the Oath. Check out Great Lakes. Just look them online. If you guys don't know where to go, ask Sean Duffy. You can ask myself. We'll lead you in the right direction to go to these great conferences, or just literally just go online. You can search them. Usually it just brings you down that road. The algorithms will help you out. So with that being said, man, I really appreciate you, Sean. This was a great conversation. Also, I just give a shout out to the Book of Search. Sean Duffy, he wrote 2 articles in the Book of Search. I recommend you guys read it, please. It's chock full of information, just like Sean's passionate about. Search and being prepared. So that's what this book is helping with. It's great educational material. So please check that out. Also, a new book out there by Firehouse Vigilance is the Book of Work. It takes a lot of these sections in here and it actually gives you the training scenarios in there and shows you how to actually do training in your firehouse. So check out the Book of Work as well, please. Make it a Christmas gift if you like to. And also like to end it with, I always give a shout out to my guys, Next Rung. They are going to be traveling around. They do a whole lot of work for a lot of good things. Next Rung, if you're looking at it, there's the barcode, and on the back is the phone number. And if you're listening, I'll give you the phone number, 833-NXT-RUNG. That's 833-698-7864. Text support to speak with a peer support provider, or text info to learn more about the organization. The way to get help is by asking for it. If you need something, talk to somebody. They're going to help you out. They're going to be there for you. So make sure you're reaching out to people that are there to help you. They're going to get you appointments. They'll point you in the right direction. If you don't know where an office is for a counselor, they're going to help you out, but you got to get a hold of them, okay? So with that being said, my man, Sean, it was a blast. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I could talk to you for another 3 hours, dude. This was great. So hopefully I can get you back on when things calm down and things slow up. We can get you back on the show and talk more. But I'm going to see you at March Mayhem. I also see you at FDIC.
Sounds like a plan, brother. I appreciate it. I look forward to our next conversation for sure.
Absolutely. So that being said, you all take care, be safe, and
Nozzle top.
Nozzle top. Dude, that was really good.